going on, Jerome's? It's officially time to turn our eyes towards draft season, and it's time. Our first Minnesota Vikings 7-round mock draft. Put a lot of work into this one. Not really, just kidding. Parameters first. So rules are important. There are rules here. This is not Vietnam, Donnie. So mock draft parameters. Vikings currently have 10 selections. They're projected to have the 4th and 6th round compensatory picks from Trey Waynes and Mac Alexander, respectively. And we're going to stick and pick. I mean, we can do trades, but yeah, we'll leave the fun for a little bit later on in the offseason. And we're going to put an emphasis on size and strength in both trenches, because I am friggin' sick and tired being pushed around, especially on the interiors. Both sides. Our free agency scenario. So Kyle Rudolph and Anthony Barr back on pay cuts. Now, it's not what I want, but I'm sort of projecting what the Vikings are going to do in this spot. I think Eric Wilson leaves if he can get $9 million for agency. God bless, go and get it. Anthony Harris is going to be gone as well. Riley Reef restructured, and at guard, woo! And then Ezra Cleveland kicks out to left tackle, his natural position, the position he should be playing in the first place, but... Yeah. And also, even with the cap potentially rising up to $1.90 with the addition of the 17th game, no starters signed in free agency. So Joe Thuney, no matter what, didn't pull through. But Vikings currently at the 13th overall selection. And this is the scenario that we had the other day when we did the mini mock draft as well as current draft order. So it came down to Kwity Paye and Wyatt Davis, and it was tough, but we went Kwity Paye, edge rusher, Michigan, 6'4", 277-pound senior. Had 2 sacks in 4 games this year before opting out with an injury. Plus, if you watched him against the Gophers, I understand the Gophers had injuries and COVID issues, but my goodness. But 6.5 sacks, 12.5 tackles for loss in 2019 as a junior. Absolute motor, high-character kid, overcame a lot growing up. At his peaks, if you watch some of his highlights, you'll be like, that's Reggie White-esque. I mean, he's got the strength. He's got the hump move. He is an absolute people mover. He's got strong hands, got a thick ass, and is going to set the edge against the run and then get after it as a pass rusher as well. And I love the idea of Hunter and Paye. So I like Yannick. He brought a lot to the table, but he was not about that run defense life. So you got guys like Paye and Danielle Hunter who can get after the quarterback and are going to be stout and rock solid against a run. I love it. Plus DJ Wanda sprinkled in. Let's go. Plus, the sexiness is that Paye can kick inside on passing down. So put him in at one of the 3 tech spots on third and forever. DJ Wanham, Danielle Hunter on the outside, Kikafati inside as well. Let's go. Come on. He's that strong and quick. He would be a big problem there. So I love me some Kwity Paye. So you address one side of the trenches, got your defensive end of the future opposite Danielle Hunter, and then into the third round, waiting is the hardest part. So at 75, Landon Dickerson, interior offensive line from Alabama. Now, 75 might be a little bit optimistic, as he could easily be in the round 2 range, but also it's December. Maybe the Vikings maneuver around, go up and get him. Also, he's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, and we'll get into why, but absolute size, absolute monster, 6'6", 325, redshirt senior. Was originally at Florida State, but then took his talents to Tuscaloosa. Has played guard before, but was the Crimson Tide center, and he is just an earth mover. Like, he is a caterpillar, he is a bobcat, he is whatever. And again, I want size. I want strength on the inside. How many times has the Vikings offensive line needed an inch or a yard and couldn't get it? Right? So that just blows my mind. And with Ezra at left tackle, put Dickerson in at one of the guard spots. And, I mean, put Garrett Bradbury on notice. I love me some Grim Reacher. I think that if he adds some more size, if he lives in that weight room, he adds some good weight and is able to pan out that anchor a little bit. I think there's no one smarter up front calling out protections. I think that his movement skills make him elite in this league. But, again, drawback on Dickerson. He's not the most mobile dude in the world. Like, he's not going to be a pulling guard. He's not going to be Ezra Cleveland out there, but a bit of a plotter, but also is not a deal breaker. And remember, I mean, the Vikings are an outside zone team, but they only run outside zone about 60% of their plays. So there's still room for power up in this motherfather. Dickerson, he is your guy. Plus, he is going to throw dudes out of the club. I mean, on 3rd and inches, 4th and inches, he's going to be your guy. And body composition-wise and just the way that he goes about his business, he really reminds me of Matt Burke. Pride of Harvard. Love it. Can't we just have a guard who is strong and 330 pounds and can also move? Okay. Let me know when you find your unicorn, man. Let me know when you find the next Larry Allen. All right, so next third-round pick, 86 overall from Baltimore. This is from the Yannick, the freaking Ngakoue trade. So Aleem McNeil, interior defensive lineman from NC State, 6'2", a 315-pound junior, former four-star recruit from Raleigh, North Carolina, former teammates with Garrett Bradbury, getting it on. Had a nice sophomore year. Last season, 7.5 tackles for loss, 5.5 sacks. But this year, sort of, 1 sack in 11 games, but 25 tackles and 4.5 tackles for loss. But he is a solid combination of stoutness versus run. Like, he won't be a shrinking violet. I think he could be a 3-down defensive tackle at that 3-tech spot. Also, he can get after it as a pass rusher. And lots of defensive interiors this year can either do one, stop the run, or the other one, get after it in pass rushing. But it's very rare to have both. Like, there's no Derek Browns in this draft. And I think McNeil's draft stock may be rising. I think if he tests well, I think he could climb up into the higher end of day 2 because of that first step. Penetration is absolutely quick, solid against the run, needs a little bit more consistency, but flashes are absolutely there. And I think he could end up being the Vikings starting 3-tech. Next up, so round 4. Like I said, I want size and I want strength, but I mean, that doesn't apply to safety. So at 110 overall, Ardarius Washington, the pride of TCU, come on down. Because remember, Harris is gone in our scenario, plus Harrison Smith turns 32 in February. But Washington, redshirt sophomore, 5'8", a $179. And I loved watching him and Gladney last year. He just really popped off the tape. 37 tackles, 4 passes broken up this year in 9 games. Did have 5 picks this year, had none this year. But just an absolute hammer in the run game. And, you know, his size belies his feistiness. Like, he is Antoine Winfield Sr. back there. And he's also competitive in the passing game, likes to attack. Him and Gladney already have some trust and some chemistry. And he's a little bit of a gambler. Like he is, I feel like Gary Patterson and his DBs, like, they have an MO. Like, they have a type. Super athletic and physical, as well as they're going to take chances on trying to make that big play, and Washington is that guy. And he is a baby Bob Sanders. He is. And you do have some worries about, is his body going to hold up long-term the way that he wants to play? But you love it. You love how he gets after it. Plus, he's got range and coverage and is a smart leader on the back end of that defense as well. Next up, so 4th round, 116 overall. This is the pick from Chicago. So doubling down on the offensive line, give me 2 hogs up front. So Jack Anderson, interior offensive lineman from Texas Tech. Again, size, beef. Everything's bigger in Texas. A senior, 6'5", 320, was a 4-year starter in Lubbock, former 4-star recruit. And again, it's weird to see a power run blocker from an air raid scheme, but he was. And here we are. Great power, phenomenal balance. You never find him on the ground, unlike Drew Samia. And, not exactly Ezra Cleveland in terms of movement skills, but also is not a liability. And remember, we are taking some subtle trade-offs. Like, we want some size, we want some stoutness, we want an anchor, we want some strength at the point of attack. So if you have to give up just a little bit of movement skills, just a little bit, sure, why not? And again, with Reef at guard, you have Dickerson and Anderson and Oli Udoh and Kyle Hinton battling out for the other guard spot. And then you have some high-quality depth for if and when Riley Reef does leave. Woo! And I'm not mad at it. And again, if Bradbury ends up, still being kind of up and down, more downs than ups, Dickerson could move into center, and then all of a sudden you got Jack Anderson, maybe Kyle Hinton, maybe Oli Udoh, and then you've revamped on the fly. You've taken this offensive line that gets pushed around on 4th and inches. All of a sudden, they're going to be 3 yards downfield. Let's go. Let's go. Either way, you got 2 yoked up Street Fighter people movers inside on the offensive line in the first 4 rounds. I love it. I love it, man. Next up, again, go in size, 4th round, 124. This is from Buffalo in the Stephon Diggs trade. Merlin Robertson, linebacker from Arizona State University, junior, 6'3", 251. Again, you're wanting some size up front. Anthony Barr, understudy, maybe future replacement, question mark. Had 74 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, and 2 sacks in 2019. This year, remember the Pac-12 had a slim down schedule, and they had a couple of games canceled. But in 3 games, had 20 tackles, 1.5 tackles for loss. Also has an interception all 3 of his seasons in Tempe. And you'll be able to get a good scouting report from Arizona State co-regional defense coordinator Marvin Lewis. I mean, Zimmer and Marvin, I'm sure they talk and text more than people know. But Robertson, like we said, is baby Anthony Barr. He's got that size, got that length, but also it can be a great stand-up linebacker and can get some pressure on the edge. Is solid at the point of attack. Has got some pop. He's not going to be missing 18 tackles a la Eric Wilson. So, man, I like it. So you got Barr, you got Kendricks, and then you got Troy Dye and Merlin Robertson bringing a little bit something different to the table each, and it's a nice way to revamp that linebacker room. Next up, so fourth round, I want a quarterback. And we passed on quarterback earlier on, passed on Desmond Ridder. We did all that. So in the fourth round, 135, the projected compensatory pick, going QB. Going Ian Book, coming on, nope. Trey Dame, Golden Dumber. So I want that quarterback of the future project, but best I could do is fourth round. So he's a senior, 6 foot 212, 3-year starter for the Irish. Solid arm, throws with nice accuracy. 3,034 yards passing, 34 touchdowns last year for Notre Dame. Threw less this year as Notre Dame and that great offensive line and great running backs really pounded it out on the ground. 2,600 yards passing, 15 touchdowns, only 2 picks. Led the Irish to the college football playoff. Although they're going to get waxed by Alabama. It's going to be ugly, man. But also, I mean, he did have the upset win of Clemson, but remember, that was without Trevor Lawrence, and then they got worked. They got their asses kicked in the ACC title game. But with Book, really good athlete, undersized, a little bit plucky. He does remind you a little bit of Trace McSorley, who I've confessed my love for many times on the show. And also, he's had 1,462 yards rushing and 15 touchdowns over 4 seasons. So a guy who can sit behind Kirk Cousins a couple seasons, maybe throw in some Taysom Hill adjacent stuff with Ian Book. I don't know. I just don't know. But into the fifth round, 141 overall. So we're going to pluck a guy with a lot of talent who fell for a myriad of reasons. But Damon Hazleton, wide receiver out of Mizzou, by way of Virginia Tech, by way of Ball State. So redshirt senior. 6'3", 215, and he started off at the aforementioned Ball State in 2016, and then took his talents to Virginia Tech. Had back-to-back 8-touchdown seasons for the Hokies, and then grad transferred to Mizzou. Got hurt, and then got lost in the wide receiver shuffle, but still put up 30 catches, 397 yards, and a touchdown in only 8 games in Columbia for the Tigers, but is an absolutely rock-solid outside receiver, go-up-and-get-it type guy. Back shoulder, throw aficionado, big catch radius as well, solid high-pointing, especially in some of his Virginia Tech tapes. I mean, this year at Mizzou, sort of throw it out. Nah. He does have some Hakeem Nicks. Like, when Hakeem Nicks was primed and dialed in for the Giants, you do get some of those vibes. But a nice outside option. Thielen and Jefferson working in the middle of the field. Woo, love it. Next up, fifth round, 151. This is one of my favorite picks. So Tariq Thompson, safety out of San Diego State University. And I know size, even though we took Artarius Washington, but but Tariq Thompson, 6 foot, 200-pound senior. And Tariq will finally be the J-Ron replacement, which they ignored last year. Was a 4-year starter for the Aztecs, 11 career picks, 5 forced fumbles, 41 tackles this year in 8 games. He's not like an uber athlete. He's not going to pop off the page at the combine or at his pro days, but is going to be rock solid in assignments and technique. I think, frankly, could be a future coach. I mean, going the Tom Landry route, where Tom Landry wasn't the biggest, strongest, fastest defensive back for Texas and then the New York Giants, but he beat you with his mind. I think Tariq Thompson could be in that mold as well. But great against the run, play slots against big wide receivers and move tight ends. Also, in the late season game, played Zach Wilson and BYU extremely tough in a 28-14 loss. Tariq had 4 tackles that game. And also, go back and watch. I mean, number 14, San Diego State, pops off the tape. He really does. But a very smart, cerebral football dude that I think Durante Jones and Mike Zimmer are really going to love and help change over on the back end of this defense. 6th round pick, 172 overall. Going back to size. Going back to girth, baby. Tadarill Slayton, a.k.a. TJ Slayton, nose tackle from Florida, senior, 6'5", 358. Size, man. Size. It's what I want up front. And also, I mean, Slayton is a good 358. He's not a bad 358. Dude is jacked. And he's been the rock in the middle of Florida's defense last couple years. 38 tackles this year, 1.5 sacks. But again, that's whatever. Dude is the rock at Gibraltar. 2-gapping, 0 tech. It is extremely hard to move him. And everything starts up front. What was so maddening against the Saints is that Jaleel Johnson, Shamar Stephen were getting blown 2-3 yards off the ball every single play. No. And I know Michael Pierce is coming back, but also, is he? Is He'll be another year older. And also, is it going to be peak Ravens Michael Pierce? Or you need to have a contingency plan. You need to have a backup because the Vikings are without any other true nose tackles on the rooster, but now they do. Slayton, come on down and just like absorb bodies. Let's go. Let's go. 2 more to go. 6th round, 192, projected compensatory pick. So he hasn't officially declared yet. He may actually go back to school, but Master Teague, running back from the Ohio State University, 5'11", 225. And I know, you got Dalvin, you got Madison, maybe Mike Boone will be back, but I want a hammer, man. I want a hammer. So last year, Teague was J.K. Dobbins' backup when he ran for 2,000 yards. This year, he split time with Trey Sermons, who transferred in from Oklahoma. And then Sermons put up 331 against Northwestern. It's so dumb, man. But Teague, 449 and 6 touchdowns in 6 games this season, had a nice 169 and 2 touchdowns in the showdown against Indiana. And he is an angry runner. Like, he is a hangry, just want that run into contact type runner. Great short area explosion, as well as reportedly ran a 4.3 40, which I don't know. But also, Ohio State runs a ton of outside zone, so Teague would be at home, even though my fictional team moving more towards power football, you could be rocked up as well. So just imagine. So interior offensive line. So, all right, so you got Reef. You got Dickerson. You got Bradbury. Maybe you get Jack Anderson in there as well. Maybe you got Kyle Hinton or Oli Udoh. Kyle Hinton at fullback, leading the way for all 225, 230 pounds of Master Teague in the I formation. Straight lead dive. Let's go. Come on. Let's go. Not much of a receiver. Only has 8 career catches, but don't care. Again, you got Madison as a competent backup for Dalvin, and then you got Master Teague as a short yardage hammer. Let's go. Again, hasn't declared, could easily go back to school, but we'll see. Lastly, 7th round pick. So pretty happy with what has gone on. We got our QB of the future, or potential QB of the future in Ian Book. We've addressed both sides of the ball. We got a 3rd receiver, and also we got a backup running back. Now, it could go tight end, even though I'm pretty comfortable with Gronklin and Irv, and Rudy's back on the restructure, and also Brandon Dillon, but still need a return guy. So 203 overall. J.D. friggin' Spielman. Chris Spielman's nephew. There you go. Wide receiver out of TCU by way of Nebraska. Redshirt senior, 5'9", a $180. Had 3 straight 800-yard receiving seasons at Nebraska, as well as being a great return specialist. 3 total returns for touchdowns for the Cornhuskers. Had limited role this year. 5 catches for 55 yards in 3 games at Fort Worth. Wide receiver 4, and as well as a return specialist by KJ Osborne. And I don't know. This would be a weird dynamic. Is this nepotism? I mean, JD has legit talent, but I mean, Spielman, his last pick of the draft, is like, yeah, taking my guy. But overall, man, if this went down for the Vikings draft and there's a change in philosophy in both of the trenches, I'm sold, man. So I think Kwity Paye has the potential to be a Pro Bowl, all-pro type player. Him and Daniil Hunter will quickly become tandem, the best edge rushers in the NFL. Landon Dickerson is going to be your starting guard right away. Maybe he slides over to center if Bradbury falters, as well as Jack Anderson is going to be a future starter. So you got meat, you got beef up front, plus Oli Udoh, plus Kyle Hinton in there. Let's go. Lee McNeil adding some size and some support to that 3-tech spot. Great against the run, as well as a great first step penetrator as well. Darius Washington, as well as Tariq Thompson on the back end, working to replace Anthony Harris and pair up with Harrison Smith in the twilight of his career. Merlin Robertson, and enough with the coverage linebackers. Just some size, just some dude who's just going to lay the wood and be great against the run and be a great slobber knocker. Let's go. Damon Hazleton, solid wide receiver 3 outside the numbers. Tadaro TJ Slayton, the nose tackle from Florida, 360 pounds of awesomeness. Just plop him on down. Hell, goal line, Michael Pierce, Slayton next to each other. Let's go. Let's go. As well as Master Teague, the hammer behind Dalvin, behind Madison, behind Mike Boone if he's back too. Let's go. Of course, J.D. Spielman, return specialist. So overall, if this happened, I'd be pumped. But let us know your thoughts in the comment section. Our first 7-round Vikings mock draft. Let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support that work? Pull some of the Venmo. But until next time, woo! Production value.